I would like to think that the qualification part of the procurement or the quality is probably better done in the US than in the rest of the world.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
However, however, we are global market leaders, but we are just starting in the U.S. market. So we see a big difference. And honestly, as we discover how the business work in the U.S., we realize that for instance, more than 80% of what we're doing, of the inspection that we're doing, are 24/7. People in Europe, people in India, they understand that if you don't keep the suppliers on their toes, well, you increase your risk significantly.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's I don't know if the U.S. market has been maybe a little bit I don't know, ill-advised, maybe I would like to say, on accepting some very low levels of inspection.
Yeah.
But we see that as a really a huge risk, and we have plenty of examples of what's happening.
Sometimes it's a problem of raw materials availability. Sometimes it's just a matter of cost. There is another material that's available out there, and that's cheaper, and it's an opportunity for manufacturers to increase the margin. That's what we see in many cases. It's not necessarily a problem of shortage. It's a problem of cost. So we are seeing really a number of issues related to those materials being changed, and sometimes customers are put in a tough position to make a choice: either get a delayed delivery or accept a component that is not certified, and that we see is a big issue. And we can control that when we are all the time at the factory, as Frédéric said. But when we are not constantly at the factory, and which is the practice right now in most of the orders we see in the United States, we cannot control that entirely, right? When you are not here at the factory at night, when an EVA is replaced, don't think you can find that out on the production records, whether there is a manufacturing execution system in place. It can be modified, and the changes cannot be tracked. So there's really a lot of risks related to material changes. And well, I fully agree with what you said. The qualification part is really nicely done, and you want to replicate this at the mass production as consistently as possible. You validated that this product can deliver the performance you want. Now let's do that at mass production again. And that's what we are trying to address. But yeah, there's quite a lot of challenges, ahead. Back 2 years ago, we published a first standard for approval of manufacturing and dispatch. We realized that when we did inspection, we had a lot of leverages missing if we wanted to really validate the quality of the batches. As easy as imposing that the right BOM is being used, that we could have access to the right information, that the processes were properly defined, so that, well, the bond that you have tested earlier, that we can put on the contract, then we have all the leverage to make sure that the same is being produced at the same conditions. You've got some old processes, old equipment out there. You've got some newer factories being built up nowadays. Well, we want to make sure that there is at least a set of requirement that is there, and that is streamlining a minimum level of control. So we've published a standard back 2 years ago, and I think it's proven not necessarily to be a very strict requirement, but very comprehensive, and really bringing the trigger so that we can do the job, and customers can can have a better assurance that things are being done right. And of course, well, we try to get this standard evolve as the technology evolves. We've introduced addendums to that standard to cover bifacial modules issues, whether it relates to testing, flash testing. You were talking about flash testing earlier, and that's true. Module manufacturers are not that's Scott who mentioned that. Module manufacturers are not testing 100% of the rear side of the PV module. That's just not possible in a workshop. You know, either the workshop is too short, it's a huge investment maybe to put 2 flashers back to back. It will reduce the production throughput if you have to bring back the module to retest it on the same equipment. So we've put at least some language that allows us to have at least a control that is regular on each production line to at least monitor every single process.